And
Dewan, the way you done brushed that wig, it is laid.
It's laid.
It is laid, girl.
I've been doing it
for
for literally for a whole 45 minutes.
I legit want something short. I want something short, and you know my short bob.
I love your bob on you.
I was thinking about wearing her today, but I was like, no, I want length. But I want like a collection of really, really short. Like I want those like throwback,
like the Halle
R&B,
Berry,
the throwback R&B with the tiny curls, but the long hair up front. You know, the bangs. That's what I want.
It's gonna be hard to find those. Like you might have to spend like a pretty penny on those because like you get the cheap ones and you're gonna be like, not the bang.
No,
the bang.
Yeah, I will spend some money on a nice short like.
I want like a good
TLC.
Right.
Vote Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock.
Ask your aunties. I want to wear his socks too.
HBCUs and defunding the police. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report. Well, hello, ladies.
Hey, what's going on?
We got Storm over here.
Okay, I was gonna say that while we were prepping, but she is giving us Mother Storm over there.
Mother Storm, yes, Storm.
Come on,
you know, they are actually shopping. They're shopping a script around for Storm, and there's a lot of speculation around who should play her.
Ooh.
I know they've been trying to like find it. Well, two things. One, because the whole X-Men catalog is now part of what is
Disney.
That?
Yeah.
Universal
Disney.
Disney,
yeah,
right?
Disney.
So that whole ensemble of the X-Men will then get reimagined. But you know, there's also like this whole like feature length because they're trying to connect the dots and capitalize off of like
Black Panther and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But you gotta find
but I heard
right
they canceled
one.
that though. But I think they're canceled. I read because I be on the Marvel blogs. Y'all. I'm a nerd, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a nerd when it comes to that. But I heard that they're canceling that because there won't be T'Challa and Black Panther. And the reason why they were bringing Storm is because in the Marvel comic books, Storm and Black Panther are married.
Yeah.
So
and divorced.
Yep, and divorced.
Right.
Right. So they brought Storm.
She had a whole thing with Cable.
That's true too. But so they were trying to bring in Storm for that, but now I've read that they're rewriting the script so that way they can figure out whether or not they're gonna go with Shuri as a Black Panther.
Sorry.
Yep. Or if they're gonna try to revive Killmonger. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one because it's like you still want to give the due diligence to what's his name? It's slipping my mind right now.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yes, thank you. But it's just like you still like it, but it's just like okay, Michael B. Jordan would be great to come back because everybody loved them. So Michael B. Jordan, Shuri would be great as a Black Panther because everybody loves that character. Like there's they got to do it right though. They got to do it right.
Yeah, and this wouldn't be the first time, honestly. Like if you look at a lot of superheroes, they switch them people up like like flapjack. So
that's true.
You know, I mean, yes, in this maybe too soon.
Yeah.
You know, the question is, it may be too soon to switch it up because that might be a little bit insensitive to like his memory or whatever.
Yeah,
could be perceived that way. But you know, like if it would be awesome if they were able to find somebody that is like an unknown. You know, like, and because it has the history behind it, so it's proven. It would be nice to be able to bring.
But budget-wise, like they still have to be cognitive too, because it's still the second highest-grossing Marvel movie they've ever made, outside of Avengers: Infinity Wars, which is the first one. So, like Chadwick Boseman passing aside, the legacy that movie now has off of one film is ridiculous.
It is.
And to be honest, I mean, like, they came out with Iron Man 1 and 2 and like Captain America and 3, you know, without people really giving a damn about Marvel. It took about like 5 or 6. It took till they got to the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And there had been like 4 different Hulks prior to that too.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
and all 95 Spider-Mans that are out there.
Right. And none of them have landed. But then they come out with one Black Panther movie. And then,
Mark Ruffalo has for me is like a cute.
He
is so damn cute.
I tell it to Corey every single time. I'm like, Mark Ruffalo can get it.
Mm-hmm.
Corey like Mark Ruffalo as like the Hulk in like the diner scene. He's like, ooh, I like Mark Ruffalo as that. Like, you know, that's like, I'm like, you know, that's like computer generation, right?
Right. That's not. I mean, that's essence of his face, but
right. That's about
not a lot else.
He said that's a bigger face to sit on. Okay, that's what it
is. Yes, ma'am. Get it,
Hulk. Could you imagine?
Get in
Can you
there,
imagine
Hulk.
how that tongue would feel?
Yes.
Oh my god, like a blanket.
You think about the tongue? Just think about the dick. Damn.
Bitch,
I mean, what would you do?
Y'all going bigger than home,
to a girl, then. That's like holding on to an oak tree. What are you gonna do with that?
No.
Because that would. I mean, that's a job for them 25 people in Hungary.
Oh, girl, that's right.
That's
right.
a job for them.
Mm-hmm. You're right on that. In Community, if you didn't hear last week's episode, you need to go back and reference that. That's where it came from. And by the way, hello, Community.
Yeah, what's up, Community?
We just hopped on in. You know, it hasn't been the three of us for a few weeks, so you know, we sit together. We just kiki and hop back in. Like,
yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like yesterday, I was sitting there. I was just like, we haven't recorded in a long time. It felt like forever since the last time we recorded. It's the same damn time it usually is.
Right.
The last week has just been so taxing for me that I just felt like so long.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I miss my girl. Like, when we recording, like for some reason I had in my head that we were recording and like she was on a whole different planet. So I was like, yes, thank Jesus.
Before we forget, Jerrell.
Yes.
I see you got your Georgia t-shirt on.
I do. Beautiful blue Georgia by Better Buzz Brand Goods, by the way. A great small business here in Atlanta that's LGBTQIA plus focused. Like a lot of times he'll donate a lot of his proceeds to local charities, LGBT focus charities. But anyway, the point of the shirt is Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock needs your vote starting today. Voting early starts today here in Georgia, December 14th. Get out there, get your best Judies. We got to show up like we did for the presidential election and flip this Senate. So don't get lax. We know it's the holiday season. But we also know you probably saved up your vacay because you ain't had nowhere to go all year. So use that vacay day, show up at the polls early, take your friends, make it a whole trip.
The election polls.
The election polls, not the stripper polls at Magic City or Swinging Richards. Show up because we got to show up and show out probably even more than we did during the presidential election, honestly.
Yeah. And that's the one time you're going to hear your aunties tell y'all to not stay your ass at home.
Nope.
Like,
get
this
out.
pandemic, we've been saying stay home. Now we're saying get your ass out the house, out the polls.
Yeah.
Get your ass, get that mask.
Non-judgment.
This is like the 1-2 punch that we need. You know, we got Biden who's going to be going to the White House or whatever, but we need to flip the Senate. And that's what needs to happen right now. If we're going to see any change, if we're going to see any change over the next 4 years, that has to happen.
Seriously, because if you vote Jon and Raphael in, the Senate will be 50-50, and Kamala's the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So please, everyone that's hearing this in Georgia, now's not the time.
Everybody, because if you know somebody in Georgia, you need to be getting on your people in Georgia too.
Yes.
Like, come on, speak up to all your peoples because we are really in this together. So. So that's why we've seen Florida fuck us before. Let's not have Georgia do it, okay?
Not Georgia.
Let's stay blue. I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
How to do that? Yodel that blue.
Right. The backgrounds in that song is.
It is. I do. I will say that the backgrounds.
And that might be the only time I'll give it to Elvis for a song. Every other song he stole from a black person. But Blue Christmas, you know what? He did all right on that one.
But I need a favor, Corell, because speaking of Georgia, speaking of Swinging Richards, because the girl's never been.
Girl, you
a girl.
You never been?
Corey wanted to go this past weekend. Literally, Corey doesn't ever want to go out. The only time he wants to go out is to Swinging Richards. And we still have yet to eat at. I know that's right. We have yet to even eat at a restaurant in person in Atlanta, like since COVID. But literally last weekend, Corey, we're sitting at home, and I was editing the podcast, and he's like, "Let's go to Swinging Richards," and I was like, bitch, you know Rona's still out there, right? He's like, I'm so bored. I need to get out the house. Let's go. And he almost talked me into going to Swing Richards, but I was like, no, girl. I was like, go in there and put a mute. It sounded like I was talking to a kid. I was like, go in there and put a movie on.
Well, when we're able, obviously. We are in a pandemic.
But absolutely.
When this whole thing is over, and they're projecting, hopefully, like they're saying, like June,
July-ish.
Once we get about 75% of the population kind of vaccinated, then that'll be a critical mass enough to be able to say, we can start like lightening some of these restrictions. But a girl's got to come down to Atlanta.
We'll talk about this vaccine too.
Swinging Richards for sure. The first, like literally, you get your vaccine, I get my vaccine. We'll get that double dose, so y'all better get that double dose, and then bitch, we can Swing Richards all day.
As soon as that shit hits these veins, I want to be on that. I want to be on that Delta
dick to hit my face
to Georgia.
Once it hit my veins, I wanted to hit my face. I know that's right. That's literally the last place I've been in Atlanta, like restaurant, bar wise or whatever.
Really?
It was because it was my birthday. So we
what
went
was it
out.
Like? I mean, was it like?
It was literally like it was the week before shit shut down.
Okay.
So like we went to the soccer game that Saturday.
So nobody even knew at that point. It was
crazy.
Living life.
Like we knew something was starting because they were they had the escalators going and they were spraying down like the escalators and everything where everyone was touching. And we're like, man, okay, this is starting to ramp up. Okay, at least they're being diligent about wiping shit down,
Mm-hmm.
And we left the soccer game with the Swing of Richards, and that was March 7th. And then March 10th is when like the NBA shit like happened, and we've been shut down ever since. So might as well start COVID with Swing of Richards and COVID with Swing of Richards. And that's how long their penises are, by the way, too. That's why I did that.
Mm-hmm. My mom was actually trying to get me to come down there next month because my sister turns 30. And niggas.
Atlanta wide ass open.
Exactly. And that's exactly why she wants to go down there. And I'm just like, we're still in a damn pandemic. And these heifers and had COVID in August. So, you got black folks talking about, I got the antibodies. So
I'm good to go.
Nobody tell me nothing. What? We up in here. Like what? Who gonna tell me
some
something?
people be lying about them antibodies, like they be lying about them being half Indian.
Ooh.
True. But I remember, I saw the test results on these two heifers, so I know they had it. But I don't know about the antibodies being up in there. No, don't really nobody know how that still works.
Nobody knows. Exactly.
But yeah, they were trying to get me to be down there like the weekend of the 8th, like the 8th, 9th, 10th of January. And I was like, mm-mm. And my mom was like, oh, can you help, can you put towards, funds for your sister's birthday? I said, no. I was like, now, if she wanted a cute purse or some nice shoes or an outfit, I will buy that. But I'm not putting towards a trip to her to go somewhere to be. No, you're supposed to be 30 and wise, not 30 and dumber.
That's not
no.
That's not
Atlanta. Literally, if you came to Atlanta, you would have no clue. Besides people wearing masks here and there, that there was a fucking pandemic. It is so wide ass open here. It's scary. It is so scary. So I stay my ass in the crib and the grocery store.
Right. And they talk about still not taking the vaccine. I'm like, wait. So there's a pandemic. That these antibodies ain't gonna be in your body all damn day forever. So you ain't gonna take the vaccine either?
But yet you eating booty left and right. You going to go to the doctor get that STD shot because you got something. Like, bitch, go and get that vaccine too.
I wonder. We at some point we need to have somebody single up on this podcast because I got a whole lot of questions when it comes to sex. Because I want to know, like, if you're hooking up. Oh, sorry.
She's talking about her brush.
She got that brush in here. Look.
Another episode you got to watch on YouTube. Subscribe, download, and share. Thank you.
I just want to know, like, because I don't like. For me, it's not just about sex. It's like it's the whole hookup. So like kissing and all that stuff is included.
Right.
I just want to know, like, are you kissing or are you just getting in there and like blowing and fucking? Like,
this would be perfect for me. Because she ain't the girl to do all that when she was, single hooking up. She was like,
really?
Oh
this
yeah,
COVID
girl.
life is
Look, no, like for me, I told y'all that like even on the apps, I barely even like follow through. So when I get there, look, I will sleep with someone before I kiss them. Okay,
you barely do that.
Okay. Once I come, I am like fucking Oscar the Grouch. Don't look at me. Don't breathe at me. I go back in my can. Leave me the hell alone. Okay, she gone. Can't find her. Okay, like this would have been perfect for me. So
right, that's funny. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being single during this time.
I have so many because people are hooking up.
Oh, absolutely, they are
hooking
absolutely.
up. 100%.
You see all the straight people doing like the hashtag not a COVID baby because people are being like, we ain't sleeping like that during COVID.
Okay. You ain't fooling nobody. Ain't fooling nobody. But you were about to ask
community,
something,
spill the tea. Shoot us a DM or something because your auntie Chardonnay wants to know. I'm just curious.
I agree.
Just curious.
So I was gonna ask you about the vaccine. So. And we had this conversation back in October because I remember I was telling you I'll be the first one to sign up for this vaccine. If it can get me back to playing sports, going to the gym, being at the club, all the rest of that stuff, healthy, I'm going to take it. But now,
you see
white folks ain't got in my head.
They got you.
They didn't got in my hair.
Girl, I saw that trending.
So I'm a little hesitant.
Why are you hesitant?
I don't know. Just because like there hasn't been enough success yet. And they're telling us the numbers, but we ain't seeing the success with our own eyes. They're just giving us numbers. You can make up numbers behind closed doors to make anything seem real. So, I'm gonna need some dumb people to take it first, some people we can weed off the earth in case it doesn't work.
Right.
Because I'm trying to stay around, just in case it go bad. But are y'all gonna take it?
Round and round we go. Yeah. I'm tired of not being able to do what I want to do. Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of sitting here. Like, honestly. And so just like, even if it's 60% effective, okay, at least that's giving me 60% more chance to live. And honestly, I hope what people realize is we might still have to wear masks for like another year after. Just, as a safety protocol, because they are fast tracking this. We don't know how long it's going to last and things like that because it's a new virus. So we might be a decade from now and still learning shit about this. Like,
I'm gonna need you to rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Right? We shall not.
Yeah, I know that. But look at the AIDS
Asia
virus. Like the HIV virus, we're still learning stuff of how it mutates and things like that. And it's been 30 years. And so,
if you look at Asia, I mean, they've been wearing masks for a very long time. And I don't want this to come off as like accusatory at all, because that's not what I'm saying. But because they are so densely populated and because the risk is so high for spreading, think about the avian flu or the bird flu and like
H1N1.
That one.
I got that one. That shit was no joke.
So like, I can fully imagine just like. We're in a time right now where it's just after 9/11.
You know, where it's like, oh, I hope we can go back to like, you know, just being able to hop onto a plane and have your whole family show up at the gate and, you know, be able to get there like 5 minutes right before or 5 minutes after
that life is gone.
Supposed to leave. Gone.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I just don't want to take my mind there. I just don't want to take my mind there.
Wait, so when would you get the vaccine?
Huh?
When would you get the vaccine then? If you don't want to be one of the first ones.
You know, she good. I got like, you know,
like 6 months, 8 months, 3 months.
I can go another year. I could go another year going through this. I can go another year going through this. Now that we got a car, we can go and do things and be out, like, you know, because we in Washington where there's the mountains and the trees and stuff like that. You know, she can go into secluded areas and be outside by just with me and my man. You know, so you know there are other things we can start doing now. So, but no, honestly, I think I could go another year just fine. I already work full-time remotely, so working from home has been my bread and butter for the last 2.5 years. So like this was nothing new. I was like, oh, everyone's just doing what I've already been doing. So that didn't change my life there. Now my waistline might say she got about another like 2 weeks before she better get her shit together because it ain't cute. I know that much. But that's the nice thing about Zoom. It's only from the titties up. So, you know, y'all don't see down there.
Bitch. Titties up.
Yeah.
For the clavicle.
Okay. Look, as long as it ain't showing in my chin, she good. You know, look. That's why y'all might see me on YouTube sitting like this sometimes. Because I might peep it a little bit. I'm like, ooh, shit.
Ooh, not that angle.
Looking at her angles, right? Looking at her angle. So
I think that it's just interesting that there's all of this you know, all of this mistrust in the vaccine, and in some instances, rightfully so. You know, because you know, if you think about like the Tuskegee experiment, you know, that happened, you know, way back when, you know, we had all these folks that were taking, you know, supposedly taking drugs supposed to be helping them, and it didn't, and da-da-da.
And they were giving them syphilis or gonorrhea and all. Ooh.
They were giving them everything but. So, you know, I guess I understand it. I think it's so interesting how many people think they're doctors and, you know, and like chemists and like, you know, experts in, you know, medicine, like things that require years and years and years of study and practice and, you know, and dedication. And I get the question about like, you know, quote unquote fast track, you know, but, and we'll talk about like language and other contexts a little bit later, but, you know, the reality of it is most vaccines take so long because they don't have the quantity of people who can participate in the trials in order to bring it to the market. Whereas this one, people were eager. You know, 44,000 people had already participated in independent trials, specifically with, you know, with Pfizer and Moderna. So, you know, like, I get that there's a lot of like mistrust out there. I think the other thing of it is that for the masses, the vaccination won't be available until Q2 of next year.
If that.
You know, April, May, June. You know, so like the first, even though we saw that chick over there in the UK getting her, you know, little squirt up or whatever, you know, the first people that are going to get it are going to be the people that are in the most, it's going to be, you know, like frontline workers and old people. You know, they will not even consider Joe Schmoes until they have enough supply to be able to keep up with the demand. So we won't even likely see this for another 6 months.
And see, for me, I think a lot of the other side of that is why people are hesitant is also just because of how the administration has handled information regarding the pandemic to begin with.
You know?
Like there's just so many people.
Now all of a sudden they worried about how the administration's been handling shit.
Okay.
That part.
You know,
didn't matter.
Now you care.
Didn't matter.
Now
250 deaths ago. Didn't matter. Now all of a sudden when it comes to the vaccine.
Didn't matter 3 weeks ago when he was still in the running, quote unquote, to be president. But the
day
he lost, now you care.
Now you care.
I'm sorry,
get behind me at the vaccine line.
But here's the other thing too. A lot of people, have been taking these tests. How I don't know, Sway, because that motherfucking test is uncomfortable as fuck.
That's wild. I told you. Remember,
first of all,
you feel violated.
Let me tell you. So I pulled up, and the guy was like, it's like when you go swimming in the pool and you get water in your nose. And I was like, oh, I know that feeling because I'm a diver and a swimmer. I know, like
that burning sensation.
Bitch, you put that in my nose. I said, what fucking pool you been swimming in, ho? Because the pool I've been at?
Right.
No, girl.
The killer part about it is, and there's psychology behind this, is that the first one is a shock, but the second one is always going to hurt more because you know what to expect. And you're expecting it to hurt. And because it's a psychological, I mean, it's not to say that it's not going to hurt, but like there is a psychological effect around like when it's like when somebody trying to pinch you, like you recoil.
Yeah, I didn't pinch you.
No, it's true because I haven't gotten the second one. I got it that one time, and bitch, I was violated. I it made me laugh afterwards because I was like, damn, what the fuck was that?
And we take dicks.
Right. I literally said, I forget who commented was on my post, but I was like, that was worse than anal. I literally was like, no. I just couldn't.
Oh
and the thing is,
God.
and I want to be clear, like, it wasn't necessarily painful. It was just that feeling was just so like
intense,
bizarre and intense. It was just like, what the fuck is this? I've never felt this before.
Exactly.
It wasn't that it hurt. I was just like, I was stuck. I was just like, damn. It was the most. So for all you girls out there talking about well, I got tested like last week and I got tested like 3 weeks ago prior to that, blah, blah, blah. Look, either one, you a lying hoe. Or two, you doing that test where you be like, you gotta spit in the tube because apparently that's one too.
Yeah.
And then apparently there's another one. They just do like the insides of your nostrils and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's the only other way you're doing it every damn day. Because I can't even watch a TV show now after having that damn test and being like, how is this actor being able to do that after having such shit stuffed up your nose?
Yeah.
I had a headache afterwards. I couldn't.
Did your eyes tear up?
Bitch, okay.
Yeah, it's like instant, like
it was just a mess. It was a mess, and I wish I'd known that because someone that's a nurse at UW over here told me that you can also ask for them just to do the insides of your nose. So I'm like,
is there one more accurate than the other? Then why they still jam in my brain? There's got to be one that's like a little more accurate, like the brain jam.
I like it rough on my forehead or something.
Baby,
I think a lot of it also has to do with
I like it raw.
I do think a lot of it also has to deal with like the kind of supplies they have on hand because there are different kinds of tests for different kinds of things, and they may be testing for some are testing for the virus, some are actually testing for the antibodies, So, but either way. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
DeJuan,
are you going to get the vaccine? Would you get the vaccine, DeJuan?
I think so. Yeah. I ordinarily would probably say no, but it's not because I don't think that, like the vaccine is a viable whatever. It's just that I know this sounds like really whatever, but I don't really get sick.
Yeah.
So like I've had sinus infections because I do, but I've never had a cold in my life.
Right.
I've never had the flu in my life. I've never had a fever in my life.
Right.
I've thrown up maybe once in my life, and that was because
that was from the alcohol.
Actually, no, I take that back. I have thrown up because of that. So like, like me and my immediate family, we're generally like, I've never missed a day of school in my entire life because I was sick. So, but because it's so important. And again, it's like wearing the mask. It's like, it's less for me, but it's for y'all.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Ooh, but hopefully they hurry it up because I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to get out this crib. The only thing is, like, I think I've gotten used to now from working from home this much. I think that's going to be hard. They have to do a commute again and things like that. There's certain days where I miss being in office, but for the most part, I'm good about chilling at the crib now. And it's just giving me more hours back of my day, too, to get other shit
your commute was ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just like that part, I'm like, okay, I could get shit done for the podcast. I could get other shit done for Corey. I could get, let me throw a load of laundry in real quick. There's just like simple shit that now instead of having 3 hours of my day in a car, that I could get some other stuff done. So that part will be very hard for me going back to whatever quote unquote normal life is after this.
And a lot of companies are having these conversations around what return to work even looks like, and are starting to adopt more flexible, like work arrangements, and aren't nearly as concerned about, like productivity, because, everybody's been productive, for the last, since March.
8 months, 10 months.
I love that it broke that stigma that you aren't able to do your job sufficient enough from home.
That distrust. That's
like it's amazing to see how much still just goes on, and people just from home. They're like, I know what I'm doing. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't change. Like, my knowledge base doesn't change or anything of the sort like that, because I'm not enough. For me, I think once the world opens back up, I'm gonna have to get used to just allowing people to be back in my space. Like I've found myself taking on some of those like introvert qualities where I'm like, I like just sitting on the couch, like not being bothered by anybody, wasting time on my phone or wasting time on something on TV. Like I've now find myself like not feeling the need. Like I can't outside of like Body coming out by Megan Thee Stallion and like, Savage coming out, like I hadn't had the urge to really go to the bar. Like I'm just like, fuck a club at this point. Like I'm cool just like hanging out at home or like hanging out with the few people. But like that whole bar me person, I'm just like, I don't miss it.
I do know my pocketbook is like loving it right now, because I'm just like, I've been saving so much.
I thought I would save more, but then these sales start hitting. I'm like, bitch, okay, 75% off. Okay. I don't know where I'm going to wear this at. I ain't going out the house, but when I do go out the house, I'm a little fly.
Okay.
See, there are like a couple of brands, like I get probably 45 emails from some of like I get emails from about 45 brands like every single day of like brands that I follow and blah, blah, blah. And I get somewhat tempted because even though she likes nice things, she's not going to be spending full price for everything.
No,
like it's just, there's no reason.
There's no reason.
So, but especially now, like I was just sitting here thinking about like, when am I ever again going to wear, outside of like a formal event, like dress shoes or a dress shirt, or like, I'm wearing a t-shirt and like shorts, joggers, sweatpants, like very casual. And, like that life is so nice not to even have to think about like half of my wardrobe. I've got like sweaters that I will probably never wear this winter at all, because the bitch ain't going nowhere. So like when these emails keep coming through, I'd be like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Where would I go with any of this stuff? Like I see all these cute little shoes and like these cute little accessories, and I'd be like,
so
but she gonna be sitting here at least until summer.
See, I get it logically, but then I'm like, damn, am I ever going to get it at this price again? Or, and so then I'm like, okay, I'll get this. But like, I've been buying way more. Like I'm going to start, like I've lost some weight this year, but like starting whenever I feel comfortable going to a gym again, I want to get back into that vibe. So like whenever I see kind of like a good sale on just like shorts and things like that, like workout shorts, I'm like, okay, $20 Nike shorts, I could store that. Like, and I wear shorts and joggers every day now at this point. So I'm like, okay, that stuff I'm definitely spending, because if I could get it cheap now, and that's my goal is to continue that, I'm good. But there are a couple of things where I'm like, ooh, that looks cute. Let me get it. Like even like the Ivy Park stuff. I'm like, I really don't need this shit.
I looked at that stuff and I was just like, these are clothes for the gram. These aren't clothes for my life.
They are.
Absolutely. They are not. Like, I am not going to be walking around in a, like head to toe trench coat that's got 3 stripes on one side and then military buttons on the left side. It looked cute for the gram.
Right.
It'll look stupid for me going all the
walking around.
Like, where are you going? Who's seeing you? Who's looking at you? Someone looking at you. You in the wrong place. Like,
it's so true. It's so true.
I've just been wasting my money on like other like little things. Like, I don't know. I just find myself buying like, I'm like replacing like kitchen appliances and like buying new spoons and like, all that stuff. Like I'm replacing all that stuff for like no goddamn reason.
Right.
Like all of a sudden I was like, oh, I want a Peloton. So now I have a Peloton coming next month.
Girl.
Like,
and that's a coin.
It is. It is a coin. But I'm like, I bought weights all this damn quarantine already. And guess how many times I didn't use them damn weights?
3.
2.
Oh, I was gonna say 2, but I was like, maybe
you were
close.
You were close.
But I did the same thing, and it takes me so long to buy house stuff. Mm-hmm. It took me probably 4 months to buy towels.
Oh, you finally got some towels.
You got the towels.
I got some towels. I got towels. But you know what? They're the same towels I already had, just in a different color. But what Jerrell said triggered for me because I bought new flatware, so forks, spoons, knives, and I bought new plateware, so bowls, salad plate, and regular plate, and they are the bee's knees. I fucking love them. They are gorgeous. It's not like if you were to see a picture of them, you'd be like, oh, that's cute. But like for me, it's just like
it's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking for these for so long. And it's just like a feeling. Like when you find the right one, I was like, ooh, I want that.
I'm going to have Corey fast forward this part of the conversation because he buys a new plate or dishware like weekly.
And Fizz is literally, as we're recording, Fizz is on his way to U Village to go to Crate and Barrel to look at the dish set because he found like some plates. To me, they are like very old school and they're too basic for me.
Yeah.
But he's very like, I don't know, he likes classic stuff. He's a very like, this is just kind of, nice and retro.
Yep.
But he's like, yeah, $200 on these cups and bowls and plates. And I said, okay.
Literally,
that could have been $200 going out of the bar.
On me.
At least you will get some use.
My birthday in 3 weeks. I'm like,
them Capricorns will always let you know.
Huh?
Yes. We gonna let you know what we know. So yeah, so that way we know that you know what we know. Okay.
Corey buys a new. Like Corey loves going antiquing and everything, so he'll find a plate. He's like, "Oh, look how old this plate is." And I'm like, "Girl, give me a paper plate. I'm good to go. As long as this food get in my mouth, I'm all right. I don't need."
But your house
is
so cute, though. I love.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Corey has a great eye for that. I cannot do any of that. Every time I walked in y'all place, even in Dallas, I was just like, "Oh my God, this is so fucking nice."
He enjoys it.
It's like showroom stopper every single time. So I'm always like, go for it. Just don't encourage my man to do it.
But me, I'm like, why do we need, like, literally, I'm trying to think how many plates. Let me even just think of, like, coffee mugs. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink out of a mug. I counted one day because someone asked, like, his cousin asked, like, how many cups does Corey have? It was something like 40-something cups, mugs.
Oh, wow.
Because he's just like, well, I like this mug, and this mug is double insulated, and I can take this mug to work, and I found this antique mug, and I'm like, bitch, you the only one drinking coffee. We need maybe like 3 mugs. Okay, I'll give you 7. I'll give you 7, 1 each day of the week. What are we doing after that? Then he's like, well, if we have people over for Thanksgiving. So that's how he justifies it. Like last year for Thanksgiving,
for the crowd.
We had maybe like 20, 25 people over for Thanksgiving. And people wanted coffee for like after dinner and everything. And so he was so happy. He was so happy because he's like, see, Jerrell, I got to use my mugs. I'm like, bitch, this is one out of the 8 years that I've been dating you.
I remember when we were all there as the group, and he had just gotten that Nespresso machine right there. And we had to FaceTime him at work because we didn't know how to work it. We were like, girl, how we work your shit? It was like 6 of us in his kitchen, and not one of us could figure this thing. And we're like, how the fuck?
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't use that shit.
I don't know. Literally verbatim. And you set your ass right there on the couch.
I sure did.
Yeah. And you were like, you have us to figure it out.
I don't want it. Don't need it. Y'all can call. You can call Corey. But
have you guys bought anything during the pandemic so far? Like, I know, Jerrell, you said one of the things is like the weight set. Have you bought anything that you're like, oh, I'm going to use this, or I really need this, and like now that we're like, at the end of the year, you're like, that shit is still sitting there collecting dust?
That's a good question.
For me, it was just a couple of books. But the truth is, I did try to read the books, and I just never got into them. So, I read the first 15, 20 pages, and I was like, nope, this ain't for me. Like, look like it would be good, not for me. But
and then you got to just sitting there looking at you, and you're like, damn,
right.
I got to spend that $18.
Okay, for real, I'll be like that.
There's probably some clothes that I bought that I just haven't worn yet that I'm like, damn, it was cute when I got it, and it's still cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I literally wake up instead of putting on like a sweater or a button up or something like that, throw on a tee and some shorts or some joggers or some sweatpants.
That's it.
And I'm good. So I bought way more like joggers and sweatpants, but like there are a couple of outfits that I'm still waiting to rock at some point. Might be 2022 at this point, but
those caftans are the only items of clothing that I bought all year. I've not bought any items of clothing outside of those caftans all year.
And I just want to let's give a shout out to O'Day and Capco. Thank you so much for giving us that discount. All of my shit just arrived today.
And Jerrell, bitch, you've been rocking yours, sis.
I have. I sure have. It's like shit. I'm
I bought a bunch.
Because they a nice little coin. They're a nice little coin. Yeah, so it's like if I'm gonna spend it,
rock it.
And it's
even with the discount.
It's very comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Yes. And then did you see his Instagram, and he was rocking this new, like this whole goddamn new pattern. I'm like, damn it, why would you tell him?
I didn't like that one as much though.
I loved it.
Oh really?
The
Palm Springs one?
Yes. Yeah. It's literally like a painting.
It's literally like a painting in Palm Springs. Like that's
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me want to go to Palm Springs. Oh. I love me some Palm Springs. We've said that on
the truth is, though, Jerrell, every time I think of Palm Springs, I think of you. I like that one time when y'all were there that weekend in February, and I took that
salt and pepper, and sea salt.
Yeah,
speck of pepper. Yeah.
Look.
That was a fun day.
That was a fun day, and I just remember, again, you were like, "I don't need to be drunk." Oh, here you go. Here's another drink, girl.
I love it. There's just there's very few places I've found that like calms my mind, and I'm not thinking of what else I got to do and things, Palm Springs is one of the few places that I find for some reason there's an energy that I'm just like, I could pause for a second, and I don't know what it might be, like the mountains, I don't know.
Yeah.
But every time I've gone there,
the same thing.
Like, even though like we're out there, we're partying and drinking and all that stuff, even the chill moments, I'm able to just like chill, and I'm not thinking at all. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about shit else except the present, and it's hard for me to do that anywhere. So that's why
I'm actually going back in 2 weeks. I'll be back there in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, that's on our road trip, isn't it?
That's on our road trip.
Yeah.
That's part of our road
trip. She going
everywhere
but seeing us.
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
No, hold on.
I want to go.
So originally we were going to do the whole south part. So if we didn't buy our car, we were going to fly into Phoenix, and then we were going to hit Albuquerque, Dallas, Nashville, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, come down, go to New Orleans, hit Houston, Austin, Santa Fe, and then Tucson, and then fly back out of Phoenix. Like, that's originally how we were going to do it.
I didn't hear New York.
First
I've
of
been
all,
trying to get y'all to come out here for so damn long.
Now you ain't gonna be driving the East Coast in the wintertime yourself, especially.
Bitch, I got a job that'll take my ass to come see y'all.
Right, be a plane.
So that's what the Leo do. That's what the Leo do. That's what the Leo do.
I'm just saying, we on the road. We don't got the coins to just to fly from city to city. You know, we post, so we gotta drive to city to city.
That's too funny.
No, real talk though, the next thing that we want to do is a road trip on the East Coast, because I still have never been to any of those other states outside of like the DC Baltimore area and New York. Like, I haven't hit any of those other areas.
I know every time
you guys should fly into New York. You guys should fly into New York. We should rent a car and we should do like a weekend in like the Poconos and then go over to Vermont and then go all the way up through like Delaware and come back down.
I haven't been to like the Rhode Islands. Actually, I have been to Rhode Island, but I haven't been to like the Vermonts and the New Hampshire. I want to go to Maine so bad. Like, I hear Maine is just fucking gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Like, I've been to the Poconos.
Ooh, and when we could cross the border and go over to Montreal, bitch.
But isn't Montreal a little far though from?
It's on the other side of Maine.
Is it really? Is that close? I didn't realize how close it was.
It's literally like a 3 to 4 hour. No, it's 6 hours drive from New York to Montreal.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Say less, you know.
I don't know why. How do we get to like talking about?
I don't know. I don't even know. Have we hit anything on our list today?
No, not at all. And we got some heavy hitters out here too.
We sure did. We're 45 minutes into the damn episode. Sorry, community. We haven't had just the three of us, so you know how our episodes go. We just get in here and start kiki, and the next thing we know, be like, "Oh, it's 2 hours."
But yeah,
we do Ask Your Aunties next.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Oh, I wasn't going to talk about these damn Christmas. Yeah, she said ask your aunties.
Ask your aunties.
Her pecan pie.
Pecan. I call it pecan pie.
I can't. I was going to say, while we're in the holiday season too, have y'all been watching any of these a million, billion fucking holiday specials?
No.
That every single day there seems to be somebody.
Santa!
Look, I'm telling you, they are ruining the Christmas spirit for me. I can't listen to Christmas music because I feel every time I turn on the TV, it's another holiday special. I'm like, you aren't the bitch that should be singing that song.
Now that's real talk.
What about who shouldn't be singing?
Let me tell you, these celebrity ones that be on TV. There's a reason why you are a dancer. There's a reason why you are a dancer. Okay? And keep your children off. Keep your children off, too. Keep your children off there, too. The only child that I saw that I did like was Pink's little girl, because Pink little girl can sing her face off. So
Pink's little girl was singing?
Yes, Pink's daughter got some pipes.
Really?
She got some pipes.
Well, she should, because Pink is singing her face off.
Right, but all these other children, they ain't ready. Nope, that ain't the ministry.
Right, looking pitiful.
Just to let you go.
That album slaps. Still goes.
That album slaps.
You know who wrote a lot of those songs, right?
Back when she was Pink and she was messing with the brothers before she started dangling from the ceilings.
You make me sick. And I was.
You know who wrote Candy? Candy wrote a lot of songs.
Yeah,
Candy.
Yeah. Y'all be sleeping on Candy. You think she a housewife? She go there getting them coins.
She got them coins.
I wrote all them hits, bitch. Well, no, I haven't seen any of the specials yet.
I did peep Mariah's.
I saw Mariah's.
Was it good?
What'd you think of Mariah's?
I loved it in the context of it was Mariah's special.
Right.
Because it was like, remember way back in the day when Mariah did MTV Cribs and she showed up and she had champagne and she had her 6-inch, 7-inch heels, and then she did the bubble bath. She got on the treadmill with her heels and drinking champagne. Like, it was very that.
Got
like,
it.
You don't look. What was interesting was there was more acting than I was anticipating.
Oh, really?
Because there was like a story,
and not from her
storyline.
Oh
no, there wasn't from her. She gave the quintessential Mariah Carey performance, which is
she gave us Glitter 2020.
She sang.
Which is actually a good album, by the way.
No, I'm talking about the movie, not the album.
Right.
The movie.
But how long is the special? Is it like an hour?
It was like 45 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 45 minutes. No, you could knock that out in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real cute. It's cute. It's like, you can tell it was for the kids and the gays. That's what it was for. It's for the kids and the gays.
Okay.
Really over the top, very campy, lots of cameos in there. Some people I'm like, oh, wait a minute, am I supposed to know who that is?
When Snoop Dogg and Jermaine Dupri came in there, I said, all I could think about is the white people watching this and then being like, who that is?
Right.
They know who Snoop is. They probably don't know who Jermaine is.
Snoop was high too. Can we talk about?
It was like this.
I love me some Snoop.
His eyes were all squinted.
Man,
he was high as fuck.
You got the OG Snoop. Okay,
I love me some
OG Snoop during Christmas
see.
Time. That's how I imagine Snoop with his family on Christmas Day. Just like that.
Yeah.
like
Snoop is like the quintessential like black. Almost stereotype in that culture, and it's true. Like, there's just certain people in your family that's kind of that lane, and kinda everybody got one.
Yeah,
and everybody adores him though.
It's interesting that he came out as the young one on the block, and now, when he came out, but now he's like Uncle Snoop. Yeah. So he turned into an old head real quick. But even when he was young, he rapped he had his own swag. Yep. He had his own, he rocked to his own beat.
Yeah,
he was definitely that uncle at the party, who had too much of the spiked eggnog.
Yep.
And, he just starts two-stepping in the living room by himself,
Mm-hmm. And he'll get a hit to one of the younger ones in the family. He'll get a hit. He'll be that cool one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was, I don't even know where to start. I like the song with Ariana Grande and J Hud.
Mm-hmm.
That was cute.
That little whistle harmonizing was super cute.
But here's the funny thing about that song: the harmonizing part was in the original one too, but they just took off Mariah's high note and put Ari's on there. So I was like, people were like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Bitch, did you not hear the original Osana?"
Yeah, it was just cute to see them do it together.
Very true.
It was. It was cute. You know what? I will say this. Not for J Hud to reprise her role of Effie in Dreamgirls. It was very much that in the performance. I was literally watching, and I sat there and I was like, I know they did not just Effie the fuck out of J Hud again. Her voice. The best parts of the song to me is when J Hud sang the song. To be honest. J Hud gave me that to it.
Yeah.
The other girls, it just felt like typical now,
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have been that they honestly didn't even need to have her on the stage.
That part.
It was.
I know she's saying 8 words maybe.
Girl. Okay.
And
when you watch it too,
her face and her body was beat.
Snatched. Yes. But when you watch it though, it's like Ari and Mariah are to the left. And then J Hud is a few steps to the right. And it's very awkward kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing here?
It seemed like the lip syncing was all I put that on the stories. Was the lip syncing off?
It was definitely Ariana Grande. Ari ponytail. She looked lost. She was just like
or even J Hud. Even J Hud's part, I'm like, oh, she missed her cue. Is she trying to catch up to the word? I'm like, they couldn't reshoot that?
Yeah. I couldn't tell. It seemed to me like they were not recorded together at all. It seemed to me like they recorded them individually and then pieced them all together on that little stage or whatever. And then tried to match it up to the track. And But even still, like, you know, they couldn't fix that in post.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
that was a little odd.
Yeah, that was odd. The other thing too is Mariah Carey could never find the fucking camera. Like, she was always just like off to the side over here.
But the lambs will tell you.
It's her good side. The
lambs will tell you she has
That's
a
what
side.
I figured. That's what I figured as much.
So she only wants to be filmed that way. She only wants to be shot in that way, and either head on or like this.
Yeah.
And it's such that like that gave her it was like a person that gave her that complex right when she got into the industry, and she's just kept it up. I'm like, girl, you could drop that now. Come on now.
I mean, like that bothered me quite a bit, because I'm like, it just felt like it made the disconnect of the feeling of the holiday spirit, which is what you wanted to embody from the special. But looking off over here, it just didn't feel like you were really giving a damn about the people who looking at you. It's like when you talk, you know, like when your mama like yelling at you and you look to the side like, just say what you gotta say. Like, it felt kind of disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie, I felt some kind of way about it. And then the end, I did not appreciate how she stole Ariana Grande's ponytail. That little New Jersey bump it at the back of it. Again, that was horrible.
Look, it was 10 times better than that tease dude that was like flat on top and then went like this.
Oh,
it
girl.
Was like,
her wannabe Diana Ross moment. That's exactly what it was. It was her trying to be Diana Ross. Because even how like the dress like fit her body and kind of flowed out too. I was like, she is really trying to
have an extra moment.
Yeah. I said, okay.
But you know what?
But
she
it was
still
cute.
looks
It
good.
put me in the
She
holiday spirit. Let's put it that way. It did in the holiday spirit. Yeah, it did. Yeah. That big, honestly, like the white, big, poofy dress with all the glitter and rhinestones and whatnot was like, oh, I'm here.
She made like what $3.4 million every year on
one song alone.
On one song. And I felt like what she was doing was trying to keep them coins coming in this year by doing a special because we're in a pandemic. That's honestly what I felt like it was. It was more of a business transaction, her trying to get money in her pocket than actually give a damn time. Because we're in this pandemic, I want to do this for the people.
Well, she said they started it last year and then the pandemic happened and she's like, oh shit. What the fuck we about to do? And then she's like, well, I feel like we got to finish it. And that's what you got.
I mean, look, we ain't got nothing but time and opportunity. So I was like, I'm about to put this on and you know.
And not to wait. And I'm sure Felix over here is being like, bitch, don't come for the queen.
Don't come for the queen.
She done probably turned us off at this point. It's not that I don't like Mariah Carey. I just did not like this special. I'm always rooting for Mariah Carey. Look, I love me some MC. Come on now, like
DJ saved my life.
But I listen to Circles at least once a week.
Bitch,
like,
that song still goes.
Okay.
That song will make you boo-hoo.
Still goes.
Oh my god.
Ever since you left me, I've been trying to hide the pain. Bitch, I'm about to listen to that. I'm about to be like, okay, we done with this episode. Let me turn that album off.
Man, that was real. The Emancipation of Mimi, that album will forever be
good-ass album.
Everything.
If ever I'm in my feelings about anything, that's the album. The whole album. Just listen to the whole goddamn thing.
It's so good.
Oh, so this is random. So I don't think either one of you guys watched The Voice, right?
Mm-hmm. I see, like, Corey watches, like, the clips that pop up.
Yeah, I watch the clips most of the time. So this week, this performer, she performed Don't Let Go by En Vogue.
Oh, I saw that one, actually.
She did her damn thing on that. I was like...
She's the same one that did the... Can we talk?
Yeah, she did that one, too. And she did Toni Braxton, too.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. So she, like... I love her because she does like those 90s R&B classics so fucking well that like not many people today know how to cover and can cover correctly. Yeah. Like it felt like I was listening to I got the same feelings I got in the 90s when I first fucking heard them. It was in 2020 and it wasn't like this new let me put a spin on it. Yeah, if that. But you know, like she's good. She is good.
Yeah, like
I just encourage y'all to check her. I think her name is Des. Yeah, Des is her name. Dez.
Okay. I don't generally watch like any of the singing shows. I don't watch the singing and dancing shows.
I used to love American Idol.
Do anything for me.
But The Voice, I never got into. The Voice just seems too like controlled. Like it's just like it's too fluffy. And every once in a while, like I'll see like someone sing that I'm like, okay, they were able to kind of at least put their stank on it. But other than that, sometimes I'm like, But I do like the clips where I see of Kelly Clarkson on this. She be getting her.
She's hilarious. Yeah, she's like,
she be doing her little. I'm like, okay, Kelly.
I'm mad I missed that season with Puff Daddy on there because that one meme with him and that guy.
No, that was the
my
4.
favorite.
That was the 4.
That was the 4.
That was a who?
The 4.
The 5.
The 5, the 6, 7. Hey, I saw that guy. I saw that guy at the bar here in Atlanta. And I forget who I texted Issa because Issa's like was obsessed with that show.
I love that show.
And I was like, Issa, the Puff Daddy like meme dude is literally I'm standing right next to him at the bar. It was so weird. I was like, oh my god. And I'm sure everybody gives them that shit to this day. But yeah, that was the 4. I was gonna say something too for The Voice. Slipped my mind. Oh well. Let's get to Ask Your Aunties.
Okay.
What time is it?
Ask
your
auntie. Gotta give him that titty shake.
You know, right. Who's got it this week?
I'll go ahead and read it.
Go ahead and read it.
So the question is, oh God, I can't even just think about it. For some godforsaken reason, the thought of trying other people's clothes turned me on a bit, as long as I'm into the person in question. Hoodies, shirts, socks, shoes, whatever really. Mostly shoes, to be honest. Is this as weird as I think it is? I'm in a long-term relationship. We've been together for a few months. I don't know how you say that's long.
Right.
Okay. And now it's
so confused.
Okay. And now it's been fantastic. And it's been fantastic so far. I know there's much weirder stuff out there, but this is such a mundane thing. I don't want him to think I'm lusting after his socks every time we undress or whatever. I'm also not sure how this could even work. Can't exactly wear his stuff when we fuck, which makes me think it's not worth the hassle telling him. At the same time, it feels wrong to hide something like this from the guy I love and who I have done much more intimate things with. Should I tell him?
Sure. I don't know. Like, and here's the thing. Like, you got dudes out there jerking off into jocks and boxers and selling them on the internet. Like, so, like, to me, if it's with your husband, your partner, whatever, get off and lust after your loved one. Honestly, it's not for me. Like, it doesn't do nothing for me, but it wasn't my question. So, if you think it's gonna freak out your boyfriend, maybe keep it to yourself. But if you cool, be like, hey, honey, I love when you wear your socks. When you get home, give me your socks so I can sniff them. You know, or let me wear your shirt when you get. Let me wear your under. Turn it into something. Get something out of it, bitch. Like, might as well. Like, if it was like you stealing it from like the locker room at the gym or something, then that's kind of starting to get a little wild there. That's, give people their shit back. But it's your boyfriend, and I feel like if it's a long-term relationship, whatever the few months means, like. Get the gratification that you need. If that gets you off, tell your partner so they can do some freaky shit for you. Like, that's how my mind thinks. I don't know. What you think?
I'm honestly right there with you, Carell. I would just say tell them. And, there's a couple of ways you can go up. I think the question might be how to tell them versus should you tell them, right? Because this might not be something that you could choose to just blurt it out, but I would just encourage you to think about the context that you want to set in bringing this up. I mean, this is nothing to be ashamed about. People get off on so many different things, and whether it's like
literally
something that's sexually that gets them off or if it's something that's just part of the foreplay, you know. And I think it's up to you to kind of figure out like what's the best way to. Let me put it to you this way. If you anticipate this being a long-term relationship, then the last thing that you want to do is withhold any information about what makes you happy. You know, so, you know, whether you've been together for a few months or a few years or a few decades, you know, if there's something that you're holding back because you feel like you can't be your authentic self, that can be problematic. And the other thing I would say is you might not be giving your partner, you know, your boyfriend, your whatever, you might not be giving them the benefit of the doubt of being able to accept you for just who you are. They might be into that too. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, I got these sweaty ass feet.
Today for you, baby.
You know, I got these sweaty ass feet. And nothing turns me on better than somebody that put my socks on after I didn't dirty them up. Like, you might have found your soulmate. You know, so I would just encourage you to think about how you want to bring it up. Like, what context do you want to bring it up? And, you know, like Jerrell said, you know, I would, if it were me, I would bring it up in kind of a playful kind of like, you know, like naughty kind of way. Like, oh, baby, let's play a game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we're into. Yeah. Okay. And then, you know, maybe you do like a little, like, you know, do it around some dessert or do it around with some shots or something. And, you know, if they don't answer the question or whatever, you know, whoever has the kinkier thing, they take a shot or take a bite or whatever, you know, like have some fun with it, but get it out, tell him so that you can put him on.
And a hoodie's not that weird. Where it said like hoodie shirts.
It's not that weird. I think one part of being in a relationship, especially when you've been together for a few months, which is not a long-term relationship. Okay. By the definition, it's not. It may be a new goal. It may be a new record for you. Okay. But by definition, it's not a long-term relationship. Because these are the type of things that you figure out in your relationship early on in the relationship. So you are still technically in the beginning stages of relationships of getting to know and understand each other. So it's great that you're having these type of questions and these thoughts about sharing the side of you with your partner, because that is how you get to actually having a long-term relationship. Now, as far as telling him, go for it. I mean, honestly, like you said in there, like you can't wear his stuff while you're fucking. Like, honestly, you can't.
You could.
And you could if that's not what you're into. However, it could also be part of your foreplay. Right. You know? And some people also do buy things specifically for their spouses or their partners to wear, you know, that goes into the whole role playing in the bedroom. So it may be that it may not be his work shirt that you're fucking in, you know, or his Sunday's best. It may be something. It may be something you bought specifically for when you know, hey, we're gonna get it on later on today. So I'm gonna need you to wear this during the day. Right. You know, and take it off later, and then we're gonna put that shit on. We're gonna go
See, that's how you get hot sauce.
You know? Right. You know,
panties to the side.
Right.
You know, that prep work, you know, like you kind of building up to it. You know, so there's ways to make that actually fun without making it sound like you're some type of creep, because you're absolutely right. There are other things out there on the scale of kink that are way more kinkier than that. And what we don't want to do is, one, we don't want to kink shame, and two, we don't want to turn people off of the idea of trying to experiment and try new things, you know. All the things that I've learned, you know, as far as my sexual experiences, aren't things that I sought out. It was because I had a partner that gave me the experience, and then it found out that I liked it, you know. So you may never know. You may be teaching your partner something that they actually might be into too, that they just didn't know, because no one took the time to be like, hey, I'm into this. Are you into this? Let's find out.
Have you guys ever dated somebody? This is piggybacking off of what you said, Jerrell. Have you ever dated somebody, like in your single days or whatever, or even your current partner? Have you ever dated somebody that they were into something sexually that you had never had any like exposure to? You might have seen it on TV.
Fisting. There was this guy.
Well, I didn't finish the question.
Oh, sorry. My answer was like, boom. I was not into it. You said not into it. I said, this. I'm not into this.
No. What I was saying that you didn't, that you hadn't experienced. You may have seen it, but they were into, and then you got into it. Like,
oh no, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Oh no. Okay.
Don't let a bitch finish a question.
I take my answer back.
Survey says.
She'll be that bitch celebrating before she crossed the finish line, right. And then two people run past her.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But something that you actually got into, that's a good question. Let me think for a second on that one.
Like
some
sexually.
Some of the toys and stuff like that, positions, you know, I don't know. I used to be very vanilla, and then I got introduced to some of those things, and those have become part of like the things I've actually come to enjoy that are like requirements, you know, when I am, you know, being grown,
right? I think I found parts of my body that I didn't know were like erogenous zones that once you kind of have certain situations, you're like, oh shit, hold on, do that again. That you're just like, okay, put that in my mental banks. Whoever's next, you won't get me off. You gotta do X, Y, Z, or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. That's a very good question. What about you, Dewan?
Keep on noodling. I have another question.
Like what's yours?
You better answer your question first.
Look, you know, every time
come on, Gayo.
These situations up. I'm trying to think of like something I wasn't really into. Not that I have followed up. Yeah, not that I have followed up with this, but I was down for it. I dated somebody that was into like S&M kink, you know, so like the leather stuff, the, you know, like the rubber sheets and, you know, like all of that. And, you know, like it wasn't something it's not, it doesn't really do that thing for me, but because we were dating and because it was like new and interesting and all that stuff, I was like, I'm very open to the, you know, to like trying different things. I'm not so much into like the torture stuff, but you know, when it comes to just trying new things or whatever, I'll do that. So I'll say that.
I've never done it on like rubber sheets before. Like,
yeah.
And like I had to double check. I was like, hold on. It's like the files roll the decks.
I remember when I went out with this guy, I won't say his name, but this was back in Chicago and in my single days. And I remember
you're halfway there. Just say his name. You gave us a place and a time.
Give us a year, a month.
Yeah, right.
Rhymes like
right.
Oh, that reminds me. I have to tell you my pagoda story one day. So,
what?
Pagoda story. It's a whole thing.
Let me write this down so you don't forget.
Trust me. You know your auntie always gives the goods.
That's gonna have to be a segment, like an actual like topic.
Right.
But I just remember okay, so I digress. I just remember going out on the first date was amazing. We had a great time, which real chemistry, blah, blah, blah. Second date, we met up at a place. I forget what the place was, but it was like at a diner and whatnot. And we sat at the bar. And I remember we were just like, you know, when you looking at him and he's looking at you and you're just loving like this feeling of getting to know this person and it's just feeling real good. And then I remember he said, let me have your hand. And I was like, okay. And then I gave him my hand and he took his fist and he was doing like grinding into my hand. That's how he told me that he was into like SNL. And I was kind of like,
S&M?
What?
Wait, you said S&L?
S&M.
M. Got it. I was like, wait,
M. Yeah, you know, sadomasochism, like, you know.
Yeah.
all that.
Well, I would have taken that like he's into fisting, and I would be like,
that's what I would have taken.
I mean, that's part of that too.
Yeah,
but that was his way. That was his way of like, you know, because I didn't know what that was. I don't know if that's a signal or whatever, but like, you know, it took me a second to figure out what he was doing because he wasn't saying anything, but you know, he was giving me the googly eyes and all that stuff. And doing at the same time, and I was like,
and he said, "This your booty hole later."
I might be into trying to see what that's all about or something.
Right? Like, yeah, fisting was never been.
To go to my answer that I gave before you finish your question, because I feel like I need to clarify myself now before you ask your next question. So I was into this guy who was like a former college D1 wrestler at the University of Minnesota. And he also played on the football team. Like, you know, he was just like a solid man, you know, gorgeous, everything. And, you know, stoic, very chill, mellow. I was like, okay, I'm into this. Like, this is cool. So this is back in the days where, you know, like she's still trying to figure out, you know, what she preferred to do in the bedroom. So, you know, this night, you know, she was going to be the top. And so we're like going back to his place, and like we get in there, and again, it's around college days. So again, you know, people ain't, you know, living lavish, you know, you still got to mind, you know, you got roommates and stuff and beer cans and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever. But then I'm like, what is this smell? What is this smell?
Oh, no.
So then like, he's like, well, my spot is in the basement. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to go down the basement. We get on the basement and it's dark, and I'm like, it's warm down here. And then he turns on these lights, and like there's like this 2 big giant walls full of nothing but like containers that have different type of reptiles in it. And so so he was into like doing stuff around these reptiles, and that was kind of like really weird to me. Like,
that's a new one. I haven't heard this one before.
Yeah, it was weird. But I've met several other people who have been with other people that were into like that same thing.
They like the reptiles to be in like its container, or
yes,
they
in
like
the containers. No, it's in the containers and stuff like that. Like, but I'm talking about like it was all sorts of like iguanas and snakes and tarantulas and all sorts of shit. Bitch, it was freaky as fuck. I was like,
I don't even like the dog around because I'm like,
right. So again, she already on top. So she's like, bitch, we got here. Bitch, you gonna go through this. We gonna get there. So then we get into it. And fun fact, I forgot to say this part. This guy was still in the closet. He was still straight. He also had a girlfriend, fiance,
wife.
right.
A house in the suburbs. He worked for the Christian
That was a different couple, actually. Okay, but so like I'm like, okay, cool. Well, so the sexual experience, I'm not thinking, well, if I'm top, like, are you gonna be able to do this? Like, okay, like here we go. Next thing I know, he's like pulling out these like fisting toys and all this stuff, and I'm saying, how are you still in the closet at this point?
That part.
I mean, like it was a whole ass hand, and then it was other shit, and I was just like, I could barely get over this hump being the top in this situation. Now you able to do this?
She didn't push you over the edge.
She said, "I can't get over the hump," literally.
Look. And then she like she must have known that this had been like a turn off before, because then she was like, "Oh, well, you know, if you need to stay hard, like here's some Viagra." And I was like, "Bitch, I'm 22 years old. Like I don't need that. Like so you know that this is some weird ass shit." Yeah. And people need to have this. I was like, no, I'm going home.
That's interesting.
This is, you have a nice life, young man. I was like,
I've never had reptiles and things like that. That's interesting. Like I'm trying to think.
That's why when you like with the first part of that question, I was just like,
she had a flashback.
Girl,
she was triggered.
Triggered. Girl. So yeah. And that's what
I'm trying to think of something that's like
is not for me.
Kinky that I've learned. Because like I feel like I mean like leather and all that stuff like is so some of it is so normal almost at this point. It seems like that like that I'm like, okay, is that really that kinky? I don't even know anymore. And then like you say the reptile shit, I'm over here trying to like, I'm over here. I'm like, damn. I was like, here I thought I had a decent sex life, and
look, I may have 20. I may have 26, but I got 26. Okay, like I got some stories.
Reptiles.
Yeah, girl, that was the craziest session. And the man is still like. He's still straight. He is like, and this has been a decade now. Like he's still going through his trials and tribulations, y'all. I'd be like,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I've had weird situations where like you get there and it's just like awkward, you know, like I remember this one time, like he got off, like the way for him to kind of almost get off was just kind of almost like grind against my stomach. And I remember just kind of like laying there like, oh, okay. And it's like one of those moments like it's going and you're just like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like
I had an experience like that. Yeah, where like he went up against my thigh. Like he would like we were both naked and he's you know, rubbing up against my thigh with his dick. Yeah. And that's how he wanted to get off.
Exactly.
Same. Like and my experience with his feet. Mine was the feet. The guy wants to do it with my feet. He wanted like my feet,
just to rub his dick on your foot.
Yeah. Yep, he wanted to have my feet together and I was like, oh, bitch, I'm tight. Don't gotta worry about that. Like, I say, ho, like.
Are we gonna tackle any of these other topics?
Thank you for sending your Ask Your Aunties. You know, continue to ask your aunties.
AYA at MinoriTeaReport.com. DM us. Good Lord. Girl, we just giving all our good grief. Oh, I'm sure community's like, what in the world? Community, I mean, if you want to share your crazy stories, let us know. DM
let us know.
We'll share like the community.
I have this. I'm gonna save this other. I have another kind of question like this in this vein, but I'll save that for another.
Yeah, so write it down. We'll continue this conversation in an upcoming episode.
It is interesting when you start talking with your friends about, you know, the different kinds of experiences that you've had, like sexual or otherwise, because there's a lot of different things that people are into. Yeah.
Y'all, so by the time this episode comes out, Ashanti and Keyshia Cole would have already happened. Are you guys even excited about this Verzuz?
Not even in the least bit. Hold on, I saw this meme that it was like, what's your favorite Keyshia Cole song or something like that? And it was like the one where she had the gap tooth in it because all her music posts when she closed the gap of trash. I fail.
Oh my God. If you could have seen our faces if you just listened, Dewan and I were not ready for that.
Let me tell you, I damn near threw my phone. And then it hit me and I was like,
did you see the one?
But you're right though, like I ain't really heard a good hit from her since she didn't close her gap. I couldn't even be mad.
There is another one that's, I mean, the internet's been going crazy over this, more so than the energy that I would put into it. But there was the one where they were like, you know, name your favorite Keyshia Cole song, and it's the picture of her crying with the tears in her eyes.
Wait, I don't get the meme.
Because there is none.
Oh, I was like,
so it was like, what is your favorite song? And it's her like crying because.
They got it. I thought you meant like, I'm with you now. I was like, you know here's what's gonna happen. I'm predicting this, and let's see if it comes to fruition. Ashanti's gonna come out with her body yaddy all out because she's got thicker since her early Ashanti days.
Oh wow, thicker since the day that she did that little like strip, strip thing on the, and then she got mad at somebody for throwing dollars at her or whatever.
No, I missed
that.
I
remember that. That was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, no, she looked
her body's
gorgeous.
She's gonna come out with all that. She's gonna stun on us on like all the J-Lo songs. And then Keisha's gonna hit us with all her Mary J. Blige-esque songs. I don't even know if they have 20 hits, honestly. Ashanti maybe because she wrote a lot.
Keisha, it's gonna be a lunch. It's gonna be a lunch break.
But does she got 20?
I bet that, you know what? I bet the comments though.
Oh, it's gonna be fire.
It's gonna
be fire.
Fire.
Absolutely.
Fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most about this Verzuz is Black Twitter. Like that's what I'm more excited about. What are people gonna come up with and say in the memes versus hearing them sing or talk or connect or anything in
the connection, like the comments in the live during the actual event are like the best thing on earth. Yeah. Like it feel like it's insane what they've created. Like I don't almost care about the verses anymore. I care about what everybody's gonna say. Even like celebrities, like well-known people are like in there clapping back and being funny and shit like that. Like it's everything. So that's what I look forward to. But I don't know if she got 20.
I don't think any of them will.
And even if she does, do we really care?
Yeah.
Like,
all I care about is I changed my
mind.
Hey. I don't lie ya. I like that one and Love.
No,
right.
Never knew what I was.
That's like the Black girl anthem.
Look, you can't look. We all knew what.
I'm done.
I'm done. Millennial sisters singing that part like
bitch. And they getting their life. So that's what I'm excited for. All the Black women doing that song come on. What comments come up during that song?
You know, there's going to be a whole bunch of chicks, you know, doing the old school throwback where they like, oh, let me have my little Alizé and, you know, like just make it a whole night. You put the candles up, you know, get all make feelings about all the men's and all that stuff.
Seriously, I'm looking up the songs now. I'm like, what songs does Keyshia Cole have? And I guess I remember some of these.
Sent from heaven,
right?
You can wait your whole life trying to find.
Okay, that was
where it's coming.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I like that song.
But it's just like, man,
yeah,
should let you go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Play your cards right. Yeah, we'll see though.
Baby. That was, I like that Ashanti song. Baby.
That's when she had like 5 songs in a row that were just all about baby.
But yeah, so not really.
We'll see. But yeah, the comments is where it's at. Black Twitter, stay on it. Stay on it.
Speaking of Twitter, you were on Twitter a couple days ago, and you saw this topic that you want to talk about.
Yeah, and we're trying to come up, community, maybe you can help us what this segment's going to be. Right now, in my head, all it is Auntie saw this on Twitter, and that's it. Auntie saw this on Twitter. And the comments were, it was a picture of a white girl, lady, female, with a Spelman Morehouse sweatshirt on here in Atlanta. And they were saying white people shouldn't go to HBCUs, or like, should they be able to go to HBCUs? And Twitter was just like lighting it up with like different like comments and things like that on both sides of regards. And I was like, damn, that's a tough comment. Like I see both sides of the railroad track, honestly. So I wanted to ask you guys, should white people go to HBCUs? And for those that don't know, I hope you know, especially if you listen to our podcast, what HBCUs are, but historically Black colleges and universities. I hope you know, but throwing it out there just in case you don't.
I honestly, I didn't go to HBCU, so I feel like it's not necessarily my place to speak on something I don't know about when it comes to, you know, the environment and just being at HBCU. Now, I have talked to plenty of other friends who I know who have gone to HBCUs, and I even spoke to one today before we even hopped on and started recording, who mentioned that he thinks that they should, you know, white people should go because, you know, that learning diversity goes both ways. You know, like if we're gonna say like, you know, these white places need to make room and diversify and, you know, take the chance on understanding our culture and where we come from, we shouldn't knock white people for actually give a damn and wanting to, you know. Now, I understand the point of like, now what about those white people who are trying to appropriate or are going there for the black fetish, or, you know, any among those, there's always a few bad apples that are always trying to fuck it up for the masses. Like, that's just a given, no matter what type of, you know, groups or individuals you're referencing. But I kind of agree with my friend. I think, you know, it should be open to others. And he even mentioned that there are diversity scholarships that these HBCUs offer to white people who can get a full Riot scholarship to these HBCUs to understand Black culture as well, you know. So, you know, I'll never knock someone for wanting to understand our people. But at the same time, I also understand that our people wanted to have shit for ourselves and not have to feel like white people need to be there. But HBCUs is our place for learning, and that's what they're there to do. And so we can't take away the opportunity to learn just because they are someone of a different race.
What are you thinking, Dewan?
There's not much that I have to add to that, because I think, Jerrell, you said it, you know, really appropriately. You know, at the end of the day, you know, like, education is a place for everybody. And, you know, I understand the historical context of, you know, having a place of our own, you know, but I also don't believe in separate but equal, you know, so we can't, you know, look to integrate white spaces without the expectation that there might be some who want to integrate our spaces. And, you know, to Jerrell's point, yeah, there may be some bad apples or whatever, people that are doing it for not the most altruistic reason, but I think that that's perhaps far and few between. Like, those are outlier circumstances, right? Mm-hmm. Because that has to be a very, to make the decision, you know, that I'm going to invest. College is an expensive endeavor. And these HBCUs, this ain't community college. So, you know, I mean, it's a pretty penny that these individuals are spending to support an educational institution that primarily serves, you know, the Black community, but it's not exclusive to the Black community. So, you know, just like we saw that, you know, little white friend on a different world back in the day with Denise, you know, I'm down for, you know, people being able to participate in, you know, the HBCU experience. And, you know, I think this conversation around like having safe places is definitely a valid one, you know, but I also think it's a slippery slope when we start kind of operating from an exclusion perspective versus an inclusive perspective.
Right.
And every space can't be a safe space. You know, like, you know, there are moments where spaces are supposed to be inclusive and for everyone. And I don't want to take away from people who feel like this is a place where they want to go to feel, you know, just blacky black and only blacky black, you know, because I know plenty of people who go to HBCU, or a lot of my friends who have been to HBCUs, they went to white school, predominantly white school. So they literally went from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. But it's those same friends that are more open to the inclusion of it. And I think we need to come from that space, because once we get out of those HBCUs, like, the world isn't that. So I think it's important that we make sure that our HBCUs are also still reflecting what the world currently looks like too.
Yeah, like I was torn when I saw this. I had to sit for a second. Then I had to like kind of scroll to just see what people were talking. Because my sister went to an HBCU. She got her undergrad and her vet degree at Tuskegee University. My uncle went to Morehouse. My aunt went to Clark. One of my aunts went to Clark. My other aunt went to Spelman. My dad and mom met at an HBCU. So like HBCUs is like all in my family. And I hope at minimum the white folks that do go to an HBCU at least know the history, which they teach it, but hopefully they understand it, the reason why they were created. And if they understand that and share that with their communities, because like one of the comments on here is like the person that posted the picture, the white lady that posted it, the wording and the caption, people were pointing out it sounded like she was surrounded by a lot of white people. And the way she was wording her picture and things like that made it sound like she had to educate people what an HBCU even was. So it was sounding like where she came from, that people didn't even know what an HBCU was. Not that, like, it doesn't mean that she doesn't know it, and doesn't appreciate it and understand the history behind it.
I hope she didn't go to a school and not learn at the school what it means, like, girl.
And that's the part that is just like, I hope they genuinely understand the reason why HBCU was even created, because we couldn't even go to a white university. So we created our own lane like we usually do, But I agree with you guys that it's just like, we can't have situations where we want to be included in everything else, but then like we have this and they can't be. I get the spirit though, that if it's trying to gentrify it and trying to steal something else that we've created, I get that spirit because we see it all day, every day. But if they're taking the time to actually be willing to go to an HBCU and things like that, and that's their choice to go there instead of a other public school or private university or whatever, that's awesome, and they should be able to. But I hope once they get into that space, that even though it's still probably predominantly Black or people of color, that they appreciate our culture and understand it, truly understand why a lot of Black folks still enjoy going to HBCUs and want to go to HBCUs and feel comfortable going to HBCUs, because we don't have the space in a lot of society still, unfortunately. So like everyone, and honestly, for folks that went to an HBCU, I almost, like you, Jerrell, like I didn't go to an HBCU, so I almost can't tell them how to feel because that wasn't my environment. I don't know if they still feel that once they left an HBCU, they still aren't getting the chances that they got within that they got in university, things like that. And I remember visiting my sister at Tuskegee, and it is a different feel, environment, everything, just to see Black folks almost free. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they didn't have to worry about code switching. They don't have to worry about doing anything else but learning, like you said, having fun, and being culturally, finally, themselves. And it's a completely different energy than me going to like Central Michigan University, which is a predominantly white university. Going back to that, I'm like, I see the difference. The energy is just different.
Yeah, that's a long way for a person to go just to troll or appropriate. You know what I mean? That's a huge kind of commitment. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's just, I don't know, it feels to me a little bit like grasping at straws. Like, the idea that somebody can't go to a university is like, it's like repeating the same kinds of things that have been done to us, but just for different reasons. And, it feels counter to, the spirit with which, I think in a university like that, is created.
Yeah. And I mean, Spelman was named after a white lady, actually. A lot of people don't know that. The Spelman, it's probably top 5 HBCU in a lot of people's minds, was actually named after a white lady.
Yeah. I think some of the irritation behind white people going to HBCUs, I can't help but to ask or think, with everything that's happened in 2020, especially with the Black Lives Matters movement and, so many of our people being murdered and without justice, like, I get wanting to just have a space and just keep it for us, because we can't literally exist. We can't go to a barbecue without getting the cops call on you. You can't sit in Starbucks without having the cops call on you. You can't, literally Black folks can't do shit without getting the cops called on you. So I understand wanting to have Black owned spaces. I understand why it's necessary, truly necessary, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I feel like every coin, there's two sides. And although we have to acknowledge the side of the importance of Black spaces, we have to also acknowledge the importance of diversity. You know, otherwise others can't learn about us and understand why we want equality and equity and why we deserve all of that just like anybody else, if we're not giving them the opportunities and giving ourselves the opportunity to mix and mingle and educate at the same time.
Yeah. So community, we'll put this on social media just to see your thoughts, because literally looking this up on Twitter, it was interesting, and everyone's opinion honestly was correct. Like, each side had valid points and valid statements, and then the emotions behind it and everything like that. And yes, we want to have a diversity, but on the flip side, it's just like, damn, we had to create this lane because y'all wouldn't let us in nowhere else. And then now that we got this lane, oh, now you feel it's cool to come on over and take this lane too. And that's the energy behind it. But I agree, Jerrell. Like, we got to find a way to at least have the diversity that's needed to heal at a lot of the wrongs that have occurred in this country, honestly.
So what about Obama's comment about the slogan of defund the police?
Oh, that's
how do y'all feel about that?
I almost gotta, like, again, in my mind, I have like these two wavelengths where it's just like, there's like the emotional part of my brain, and then there's like almost like the business part of me that is just like, it is what it is. The business part of my brain, like the marketing side, is just like, okay, literally, if you got a bad slogan, change that shit to get your point across, because nobody's gonna want to work with you there. Like, businesses change their slogans all the fucking time that don't work. You do market research and all that shit to have the best slogan that's going to get your point across clear and concise and have people want to either buy your product or join in with your situation. But then the other side of me is just like, who gives a fuck what we call it? Because they've already showed us it don't matter what we say. They still gonna do what the fuck they want to do.
It don't matter if you kneel. It don't matter if you march. It don't matter if you write a letter. It don't matter. Like, at the end of the day, struggle. Yeah, and there was an interview with Don Lemon and Angela Rye that came out that really spoke to me, specifically what Angela Rye said. And it's like, at the end of the day, what she found, and I actually agree with this, what she found problematic is that there is this position. Ooh. Oh, okay. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
At least on this part.
Oh, okay. All my screens just like flipped out. So sorry. So I'll restart. Not from the top though. There is this position that Angela Rye has, which I agree with, that politics should be staying out of the business of talking about somebody's message. You know, it should be focused on action. Politicians know what defund the police mean. But on the other side, they've picked up on this as a talking point to distract from the actual issue. So now, instead of talking about what, you know, like the policies that need to be impacted and and supporting this particular movement or the agendas of this particular movement, it's all focused on the wording, and the wording doesn't matter. You know, so, you know, like, and I 100% agree. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people about, like, you know, what defund the police means. But at the end of the day, you know, like, I had to realize for myself, part of that conversation means that I get to explain the point that they're trying to get across, not not vying for the validity of their slogan, because this isn't about marketing. This is about getting something that sticks in people's, well, I don't mean to say marketing like, you know, like it's not about marketing, but whatever. But I mean, but this is a point about getting something that's out there so that people know what to chant. People know what to say, and then it has a whole other agenda that's underneath it that people are mobilizing behind. You know, so the fact that, you know, like, I have tons of respect for, you know, for President Obama, and I don't necessarily disagree with his point of view. However, there is a part of me that says that if we're talking about the slogan, we're talking about the wrong things. That's just like people talking about, like, disrespecting a flag, you know, instead of talking about the reason why we're kneeling. You know, like you're talking about the absolute wrong things, and it's a deflection tactic. And the more that we give airtime to this, the more that we feed into the deflection instead of really just doing the work, which is police shouldn't be in domestic issues, not violence. They should be in violent stuff. But they shouldn't be in domestic issues. They shouldn't be in mental health issues. They should, if there's a homeless person or a person that's going, you know, wackadoodle, you know, naked and or whatever, you know, they should have people that are trained for mental health issues that are brought in to support that particular situation instead of police who have no training whatsoever. Treat that person like a criminal when they're battling mental health issues, and then something ends up going wrong, you know? So like, I would prefer the conversation be focused less on, you know, what the slogan is and more on what is the action that we're going at.
See, for me, I think President Obama said it actually perfectly fine. I think what he said in the context of, you know, the messaging of the slogan of defunding the police, you know, hurting Democrats was in the reference of Republicans have used defund the police in the same way they've used when we talk about gun reform. Republicans took the message about gun reform and shaped it to, they're saying they're going to take away your guns, but that was never the case. And here we are several years later, still saying gun reform, and those same people have already written it off saying, guess what? That means they take away my gun, so I don't want to fucking hear about it. Okay, but how many shootings have we had? How many mass shootings? How many children and people and lives have been taken because of the access to guns? We have the data to see that when Republicans have taken slogans and used it against the masses politically, that it actually benefits them more than it benefits the Democrats. And so for the action behind it can never happen because now the Republicans have reclaimed it for something that benefits them. And that's the point that he was trying to make, which is we need to reword it so that way they can't continue to say, well, that means they're just going to get rid of the police. Because now that's what they took and defund the police and started using it for that. Republicans are saying, oh, well, defund the police means that they're going to reallocate funds to, like, you know, community outreach and to educate in the community and all this other stuff. They're not using it for that reason. They're specifically using defund the police as there will be no more police. And that's the issue with it. But that's clearly what Obama said. And I agree with him, you know, like that's the nice thing about the English.
With you. I think the challenge of it is, this is where we get into politics. I think the challenge of it is that what the Republican side has done is they've weaponized our words against us. So it could be defund the police. It could be reduce the budget of the police. It could be could be, you know, we love the police. You know, oh, y'all love the police. All like what they've done and what the Democrats haven't done, because this is, I think, the criticism of the Democrats is that we have not yet used their words against them to the same degree that they use our words, you know, the Democrats' words against us.
Because Make America Great Again should have been weaponized on our end.
Or be best. Or, you know, or like her slogan of be best, or like coming into like, you know, like we don't take the opportunity. We're not thinking in that way to divide and conquer. Whereas, you know, that's like, I don't disagree with Obama's statement around, the framing is problematic because it's not clear to your average Joe. But that's not even the issue. The issue of it is that Republicans have weaponized everything that we say. So, you know, for the longest time, it wasn't until probably like a year ago that even like reporters would actually call the president's lies a lie. So, you know, there is this hesitancy for Democrats and people in public eyes to use like this harsh language that does not exist on the Republican side. They will come at your neck like Black Twitter, but for some reason, we won't do the same. So For me,
but we do it,
matter.
but we do it against each other because this is that point. This is the point. And we do it against each other because Obama said what he said, but people took it as if he don't give a fuck about black people. He don't give a fuck about defunding, and that was never the point. You know, like so it kind of is part of the issue. It's just we do it to ourselves, but we don't do it against the people who are doing it towards us. You know, so we're now twice as hard on our own people, and and that's why. I said I agree with him in the sense of that's the nice thing about the English language. There are so many words that you can use to get your point across, you know. And if it's not getting across this way, there's no harm in using a different word to switching it up. It don't take more time to just say you're saying the same thing. If the focus is the action, why not change the word? Because the words are part of the action at that point.
Exactly. And I get people sometimes they're just saying it doesn't matter what we say, but like it goes back to like the switch in my brain. I'm like, okay, a good marketer find the right word that you can't dispute. That's why McDonald's is saying, I'm loving it for the last 30 fucking years. Or Nike saying, just do it. Because it is so clear and so concise that like no one's disputing it. And yes, there's always going to be people that try to poke holes into it.
Has been so effective because he's able to find
divisive
language.
Exactly.
Divisive language.
Absolutely. So it's just like
we so weak to not like, you know, we don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers, you know. It's like
start ruffling.
right. Which is one of the reasons why I'm glad we have that language of defund the police. Finally, this is something that like the whole reason the police exist is because they abolished slavery, and these are fucking the first slave catchers after slavery.
That part.
That's where the police came from.
Exactly.
Defund their ass. So like,
exactly.
I'm here for it.
And so you're spending millions for like army trucks and everything like that, but you can't spend those same millions to help mental health issues and domestic violence. And that's what we're talking about, putting more money in public libraries for after-school programs.
Like they said, if you can cut the school budget by like $300-something million, then you can cut the police budget by the same motherfucking money. Like, if you think 100%. That education is that much less than police, then you are
army guns
backwards.
I mean, look, in my hometown in New York, they spend, I think, $600 billion. Million? No, I think it's billion on the police budget.
I believe it. So,
and we got a homeless problem. We got schools that are crumbling and falling apart. Our infrastructure is all jacked up. You got, like,
and that's the hard thing about
fixed.
And that's the hard thing about defund the police, because there's so much stuff that we need to fix with that money that it takes us like 20 minutes to explain it all. So that's horrible marketing. But it sucks because there's so much we need to fix with that money.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
So that's their struggle, is because like literally defund the police is like the title, but we got 100 things underneath it that we're trying to allocate with those funds that will make it a safer society.
And I just hate that they came
hard to put that in a succinct sentence.
I just hate that they came for President Obama as if he didn't give a fuck about black people and people like, and
like he don't know what he's talking about,
right? And then all of a sudden they were again trying to bring up his presidency and attack him as a president and all the rest of the stuff, and it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
bitch, you talking about the wrong shit.
If the man is literally saying that he agrees with the why defund the police is the slogan, but simply just says, but it's not effective, that doesn't mean he don't believe in the message or the cause or the reason.
It's like we just simply need to find a better message.
Right. Like,
that's succinctly.
I saw Kamala Harris on Kamala Harris on The View, and she was being interviewed by Meghan McCain. And
oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Did you see that?
Meghan,
and
yes.
Right. And she tried to back her in a corner.
She tried to.
She tried to, but Kamala smooth, bitch.
Kamala said, not today, bitch.
She said, no.
She said, I know you back from maternity leave, but not today, honey.
No, that wasn't new. That wasn't new. That wasn't new. That wasn't new. That was from this summer. That wasn't new. That was from this summer when after Joe had announced her as her
this was like a week ago.
Oh, okay.
It was like a week ago, and it's worth watching. It's a good little 8-minute
it just came out, but it was over.
And Megan was trying to make the point. She was trying to get Kamala to give a soundbite that basically says, I support the defund the police, okay? But Kamala was like, well, then what does that mean? So, you know, let's talk about it. This is what defunding the police means. It means this, this, this. These are the things that I am in favor for. These are the things that I support. These are the things that I would encourage all of the local, you know, the local municipalities to be able to embrace. You know, so whatever it is that they want to call it, I'm not concerned about that, Megan.
I lived for it. I was just like, yes,
Megan,
yeah.
Like
some days, working my nerves. I can't stand that girl.
I don't mind her, and then other days I'm like, her privileged white girl comes out so heavy,
so much. But
I'm just like, God,
and the Whoopi will gather her together like a ponytail in a heartbeat.
Whoopi's like, I ain't
here. She's like, look here, you gonna listen to me? She's like, stop, and we going to break.
Talking?
Right, and we going to break.
Even on the Zoom, they just
Whoopi's like, not today. But before we get out of here, like everyone's been doing their little Spotify list. I don't listen to Spotify that often. Like I just listen to it like for our podcast. Honestly, I support Tidal, Black-owned business. But any songs on your lists and things like that, whatever subscription you listen to, that you're like,
there's like
got me.
There's like 4 songs that are like on my rotation right now, and obviously that changes by season. But I love the song Midnight Sky by Miley Cyrus. That song,
the album's not that bad either.
I can't listen to the album because it's a little like
it's rockerish.
But it's also like very Gemini, because it's like it's either like slow songs that make you want to be all in your feelings and want to make you want to slit your wrist, and then the other ones are like all angsty and like you know so. But Midnight Sky, that one gives me Pat Benatar vibes. I fucking love that song. I can listen to it nonstop.
I like the one with Dua on that one too. Yeah.
Prisoner. Well, and I was gonna say everything by Dua Lipa, her last album, is just on steady repeat for me. And then You About to Lose Your Job has been on steady repeat for me.
I know that's
not like a song. It's a remix of a video, but
it counts. It got the melody and the beat. It's a song.
Say the remix, God. What you been listening to this year, Jerrell?
I won't say that I necessarily have songs this year. But as far as albums that I liked, Dua Lipa's, I actually prefer the Club Nostalgia album better. Like I'm not into like horse meat disco, like dance music at all. But that album actually gave me everything that I needed. And it's one of those albums where like you play the whole thing from front to back. You don't have to shuffle it, because how the song ends, the next song starts right where it picks off. So you really don't know that you're going to a different song. It's like a whole ass move, as if you're in a club. Yeah. So it's really dope. Ungodly Hour by Chloe and Halle like stayed on heavy rotation.
That's such a good album.
It's such a fucking good album. The Insecure soundtrack, I loved and lived for the Insecure soundtrack. It gave me just, I can put that on and I will get every fucking emotion that I can feel, which is fine, through that album, you know. And then also I liked Justin Bieber's album too. It's an R&B.
Yet to listen to it.
It's an R&B album. It is an R&B
gentrification
album.
R&B.
You know, but no, gentrification R&B is is what the Grammys did by calling it a pop album. That's the gentrification of R&B.
All the above.
Because R&B isn't a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's a movement.
It was a black.
Rhythm and blues is the name of R&B. So like
it started by black people,
but it doesn't mean that only black people can have R&B. Like no. First of all, you ain't gonna sit there and tell me that Adele ain't got no damn soul in her.
That's why I say it's the gentrification of it.
But it's not. But it's not the gentrification of it. Like
girl, them Bantu Nas told us it's the gentrification.
To me, it's when white people take something and make it their own. That's gentrification. But he didn't make an R&B album and say this is a white thing. He literally has, and he even came out when the Grammys listed their thing and said, let's be clear, this is an R&B album. This is not a pop album, and I don't know why I'm nominated for pop. Like, this is an actual R&B. He didn't gentrify this one. He literally said, It's R&B. Listen to the melodies of the song of his record. You get nothing but R&B from it. So it's not that he tried to take it and like, I'm gonna try to go and make it the right thing of it. No, it is an actual R&B album. It's just not sang by a Black person.
Okay.
I mean, if Black people can sing opera and we can sing all this, we can sing other stuff like that.
Right. I'm not saying they can't sing it. All I'm saying is it started as a Black art form.
Absolutely. I'm not saying it, but that's not the point. But gentrification is not he's changing R&B. He didn't change it. He just literally paid homage to R&B. Yeah. That's not gentrification.
Okay.
But you ain't even listened to the album, so you can't even call it that.
I did call it one thing or the other.
You did say gentrification of R&B.
Because it was a show title of ours when we talked about before.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That it was. Yes, we did have that.
I didn't listen too much this year because I listened to a lot of my music in the car and I've been working from home. And so this is probably the least amount of music I've listened in a year in my entire life. And so even when I was looking back, like because Tidal has like a rewind thing too. And I was looking, I was like, I didn't listen to this song. And I was like, oh yeah, Corey's on my Tidal. Because it was like KD Lang and Phoebe Snow, which I do love me some Phoebe Snow, but I was just like, I did not listen to any of the songs. So like the songs that I did kind of listen to, there was like some Beyonce on here. There's some Rain on Me was like probably the highest one of mine of recent. I'm trying to find it real quick. Here we go. And then even some other ones, I forgot my brother's on my Tidal too, because I was like, I didn't listen to Future and Drake, Life is Good. Why is that so high up on here? And I'm like, oh, my brother has my Tidal too. So I don't even know which ones are mine anymore. Like the ones I could definitely tell, Jay Electronica. I did listen to that a lot. I did listen to Beyonce and Jay-Z album. The Cars.
Wait, is Jay Electronica a person or a name of an album?
Jay Electronica is a person. He's a rapper.
He's a person. Oh, right.
He was this highly sought after rapper like 10 years ago, and then kind of just fell away. Like he put out like one EP then, and people were like, "Oh, we can't wait for your album." He was signed by Roc Nation. Jay-Z scooped him up and everything, and then he just went quiet for like a decade. And then he finally released 2 projects this year. We were like, shit, out the blue. And he had Jay-Z on like literally every song of the project too. And people were like, okay, you've gone for 10 years and then you get the Jay-Z on literally like your whole album. Yeah. It's crazy. So that was a dope album. Chloe and Halle, I listened to a decent amount. Ariana, like My Hair is already pretty high on my list because I think that's a dope ass song from that album. Yeah.
Are there any new artists that you guys like discovered this year that was kind of like, I'm gonna follow you in 2021? Like you're just like, because I feel like some things, actually not some things. I feel like a lot of things people are gonna chalk up to 2020, and then once the new year hit, they're gonna be like, it's a new year. I'm trying to do new shit.
Right.
Are there like any like new artists that y'all listen to that you?
Let me see here.
Aren't gonna throw away with the rest of this year?
Oh, I was looking. I was trying to go through. I was like, I downloaded a lot of stuff, but I forgot I got a new phone. It's on my other phone.
I mean, Dua Lipa is the only one that's like new to me. She's not new, but like there's not really a lot of new artists that I really like get into.
Except
Meg
like
Thee
maybe
Stallion.
Like, right.
I mean, but again, she's
like the Baby is probably my newest one. Meg as well.
And both of them have been out for like the last
couple years.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
So not really. This year was hard for me just to get in the spirit of music. Like music, I like being in a car. I like dissecting it. And I just haven't been in an environment that has allowed me to do so. Because sitting here at work, I can't really listen to music when I'm at work. Because I got to just think so hard a lot of times, just analyzing shit. So it was always the car that I could really just dissect an album, whatever, and get into it, sing my little heart off, And 2020 kind of took that away from me.
For me, it was K-pop. I don't know why the hell, but I'm now into K-pop. I'm into K-pop and J-pop.
Yeah.
Like, are you BTS?
Blackpink. Blackpink. I'm not a BTS fan. I'm all about Blackpink.
Yeah. Like I remember you said that before.
I love them little girls. I'm like, y'all skinny bitches. Like,
I know who I've been
International.
I love me some K-pop.
Oh, you know what? We're at the 2-hour mark. Damn, already.
Oh, damn.
Jasmine Sullivan. That's who the fuck I'm listening to right now. Come and pick up your feelings.
Oh,
bitch. That is such a fucking bar.
Oh, girl.
That is that's the bar of the year. And don't forget to come and pick up your feelings. What? What?
Girl.
And you singing your face off?
Let me tell you, if we don't get this album in the next 3 months,
it's January 8th. Yeah, January 8th. And she said, because she was just on the Breakfast Club, she said it's a project. She's like, my album will come after that, but she's like, this is a project.
I don't care.
And it's called Hotels.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna take whatever the fuck she gives me. Okay.
Same here. Yep, January 8th. So that's the next one that I'm really looking forward to.
I can't wait. She blessing us at the
new
beginning
year
of 2021.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we'll come back in the new year with the
recap
analysis of that album. But anyway, community, stay safe out there. Happy holidays. Mask up. Wash your hands. Wash your legs. Wash your ass. We got some good shit coming up in the new year as well. I guess should we tell them this is actually our last kind of new episode? Next week is a new episode, but then we kind of have like our best of with some new commentary. So please check that out. We got some. It's a whole damn near almost new episode, honestly. And then we have our LGBTQ roundtable episode coming up that we saved from Pride Month, actually.
You guys are gonna really love that.
But then when we start the new year, y'all ain't ready. We got some shit up our sleeve. Y'all are not ready.
It's gonna be great. That's gonna be great.
So stay safe out there, and we will see you in the new year
later
next week, but also in the new year. So ciao.
Hi guys, have a great week.
Bye.